Hello, Math 96. Good morning. It's October 20th, 2020. So we're going to do today a review of the homework that I gave you yesterday for section 2.6. And then also you can see page 26 of your notes for where we did the lecture on this. So if you could take a minute to take out your homework for section 2.6. I got some emails from some students, and thank you for those emails, who said they needed a little more help on this section. So we're going to go ahead and do these problems together. And then tonight, there's no new homework. Please just update your digital workbook with all the homework assignments from chapter 2, please. Okay, let me see what color I'm on here. Okay, so this is yesterday's homework from 1019, textbook page 135, number 8 through 24 evens. And if you need to go look back at the recording, it's on Google Classroom yesterday on 1019, section 2.6, recording day 1. Okay, so it says to find the sum, difference, product, or quotient of two functions. And then they give you the two functions. So for wherever you see an f, you're going to use the negative 2x plus 3. Wherever you see a g, you're going to use the x squared minus 5. So I'm going to do one of these, and then I would like you to do one after. So I'm going to choose first to do number 10. And I'm doing that because it has a subtract sign. And there's an extra step. If you look back at the notes that we did yesterday, there's an extra step for the subtract. So I just want to go over it. And then when I'm done with number 10, I'm going to have you hit pause, and I want you to do number 8. So for number 10, it says to take the f function and plug in a 2. And whatever you get there, you're going to subtract the g function and plug in a 2. So when you have a subtract, when we do this function here, you have to put a subtract with parentheses. And whatever this is, it's going to go inside the parentheses. So that's an extra step, and that's only for subtract problems, okay? So you only have to worry about this on the subtract. So it's to add the parentheses. That's the extra step, okay? All right, so I'm going to switch pen colors here. So the f function is negative 2x plus 3. So I'm getting that from right here. That's the f function. And then the g function is x squared minus 5. And that has to go in the parentheses. So it's telling me to use the g function on the right, the f function on the left. And it's also telling me to plug in for the f function a 2, and also for the g function, plug in at x a 2. And then we're going to do the math. Just make sure that you keep the parentheses because it's a subtract problem, okay? So I'm going to plug in a 2 here. So that would be a negative 2. And I'm just kind of color coding here, if you can give me a minute. So I'm going to plug in the 2. And on the other side, I'm going to put a minus, parentheses, and then I'm going to plug in another 2. I'm just color coding. So here we plugged in the 2. And then we just do the math, okay? So I'm going to work from the left to the right. So negative 2 times a 2 is a negative 4 plus 3. And I'm just going to keep working this down. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. And I'm going to bring down the subtract sign. And I'm going to bring down the parentheses. And then 2 squared is 4. Bring down minus 5. And I'm going to keep that in parentheses. That's one of the tricks with the minus. So 4 minus 5 is negative 1. So right here, you have a hidden negative 1. And that's part of the trick here. So you have to distribute, and in the lecture, I called that add the opposite is what they would tell you in middle school. And in high school and upper level math, we call distribute a negative 1. Hidden negative 1, distribute the negative. So this becomes -1, and then what's here? -1 times -1 is +1. So the final answer would be equal to 0. Properly written, it would be f of 2 minus g of 2, which is what was given in the problem up here, is equal to 0. That's the proper way to write the answer. You can hit pause here if you need a minute. Okay, so now I'm going to have you do number 8 on your own. So please do number 8 on your own. Let's see how that goes. Hit pause. So if you need a little support, we're going to do number 8. You're going to write down the f function first. So that would be -2x plus 3. And we're getting that again from over here where it says the f function is defined, right? And then we're going to put in the g of x function with an add in between. It's because it's telling us to do the g function. And again, that's right over here in the directions. Please hit pause and do that problem. Plug in the 4 where you see the x. Plug in the 4 where you see the x. Please hit pause and do that on your own. Okay, I'm assuming you're back. So this will be a -2 times 4 plus 3. That's a -8 plus 3. And -8 plus 3 is -5. I'm going to bring down the plus sign. I'm going to plug in a 4 again. So that's 4 squared minus 5. That's 16 minus 5. That's 11. And then you can read this backwards. 11 minus 5. That would be 6. And then the proper way to write the problem answer would just be to say when I plugged in f of 4 and added it to g of 4, I got a total of 6. That would be your final answer. You can hit pause if you need a moment. Okay, so let's do some more. We'll just do this homework and we'll be done. Okay, we're done with those two. We'll go on to number 12. So it says the function f at -1, multiply it by the function g of -1. So I'm looking back over here. The f function is -2x plus 3. I'm going to multiply that by x squared minus 5 because that's the g function. So you're looking here at these g's, this f, at this f, right? And then I'm going to plug in -1 wherever I see the x at. Now, when you do plug in a negative number, you need to use parentheses. So it'll be -2 with a -1 in there. And over here, -1 squared minus 5. So -2 times -1 is +2 plus 3 is 5. I'm going to multiply that because this symbol comes down. And this is where parentheses come in handy. This is -1 times -1, which is +1 minus 5. That would be a -4. And 5 times -4 is -20. So the f function at -1 multiplied by the g function at -1, the final answer would be -20. And again, that's just the proper way to write the answer. You're supposed to just write this whole thing out and what it's equal to, right? So that's what I did in the box. Okay, so let's move on to number 14. And again, you can hit pause if you need a minute. Alrighty. Takes me longer I have not figured out the fastest way to erase this board, so going as fast as I can here for you guys. Okay, so number 14 is f of 3. This means divided by g of 3. So that's division. So the f function is negative 2x plus 3. We're going to divide it by x squared minus 5. So that's f evaluated at 3 divided by g at 3. So division in algebra means this straight line horizontally, right? So that's the division. So then I'm going to just plug in the 3. And that's telling me to plug it in right here, right? So that would be equal to negative 2 times 3, then add 3 over 3 squared minus 5. And you notice here I didn't put a parenthesis around the 3 because it's positive. So you do have to have parentheses if you're plugging in a negative number like we did on number 12 with the negative 1. Okay, so the rules say to do for PEMDAS, right? So remember your PEMDAS rules. So I need to be multiplying right here first. That's negative 6. 2 times 3 is negative 6 plus 3 over 3 squared is 9 minus 5. That would be a negative 3 over a 4. So f of 3 divided by g of 3. Oops. Oh. G of 3 is equal to negative 3/4. And you can hit pause here if you need a minute. I'm just cleaning this up. It's a little messy. Our final answer is negative 3/4. Okay, why don't you take a minute to try number 16? That's another division problem. Make sure when you plug in on number 16, the negative 3 that you use parentheses. Hit pause and please do number 16. Hit pause so you can't see me do it. Practice on your own, just like we would be in the classroom. Hit pause. Okay, hopefully you're back. So the g function is x squared minus 5, and remember that we're getting that from right up here. And the f function is negative 2x plus 3. And whatever's in the parentheses is what you're plugging in for the x's. And I asked you to remember whenever you plug in a negative number, use parentheses around it. There we go. This would be negative 2 with the negative 3. Okay. And then we just do the math. Negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, so this would be 9 minus 5. Negative 2 times negative 3 right here on the bottom is 6 plus 3. So that final answer would be 9 minus 5 is 4 on the top, 6 plus 3 is 9 on the bottom. So the g function at negative 3 divided by the f function at negative 3. And remember, I'm just writing down the problem here. This is the formal way to write it in mathematics, is equal to 4/9. So I hope you got that one. You can hit pause if you need a moment. Okay. If I waited for you to do it, the video would be way too long. So I keep telling you to hit pause, right? Okay, how is problem 20 different than all the other ones? Why is problem 20 different? Well, every time that we've been doing these problems, we've been plugging in a 4, or we've been plugging in a 2, or plugging in a -1, plugging in a 3, plugging in -3. This time we're just plugging in x. So it's not any different. Really what this problem is asking is, do you know how to write? Whoops, I need my K. So do you know how to read the math? That's all it's asking you. Can you write it properly? That's all it's asking you, is do you understand what this annotation means? So for on 20, when they go like this, all they're asking you is, do you know to march over here and take the g function, g of x, over f of x, and put it on the top? That's all they're asking you, is do you understand what this means? It means division. That's all this problem is really asking you. And the f function then over here is the negative 2x plus 3. So that's the answer. They're just really asking you, do you know that this slash means to write it out as division? Okay? All right. We'll move on to the next set. It seems to help if I erase faster. If I erase faster, it goes faster. Okay, so this one says let f of x equal x squared minus 2 and g of x equal to 5 minus x. And they're just using capitals here. So for number 22, you know what? I'm going to leave 22 for you to do in just a minute. I'm going to do 24. Because remember, this is the subtract. So remember on the subtract, you have to add those parentheses, right? So I'll do 24 and then you can come back and do 22. So f minus g function evaluated at just 2. Okay, so the f function is right over here. All right, here's the f function. So it's going to be x squared minus 2 minus, so the f function minus the g. So here comes the g in parentheses. So add parentheses because of the subtract. And the g function is 5 minus x. Don't forget that there's going to be a hidden 1 in there, right? In front of the parentheses. Remember, there's going to be this hidden 1 that we're going to have to deal with. I'll put it back in just a second. Okay, it says to evaluate it at 2. So I'm going to plug in a 2. I'm sorry. I'm going to plug in a 2. So this will be 2 squared minus 4. Oops. Sorry, I did my math in my head. 2 squared minus 2 minus hidden 1, 5 minus 2. So this 2 is going to go in every time we see an x, right? Ah, and it was doing so good. And now it doesn't want to move at all. I'm sorry. There you go. I know what it is I keep hitting the wrong button on this pen. It's a little bit touchy. Okay. So we just plugged in the 2. So this will be 4 minus 2. That's 2. And then we're going to have to do the parentheses over here. 5 minus 2 is 3. And then right here we have to distribute. So this becomes 2 minus 3. And 2 minus 3 equals negative 1. So f minus g function evaluated at 2 equals negative 1 as a final answer. You can take a picture if you need to. Okay, if you could try 22 for me. So 22, you're supposed to plug in an A. So you just plug in A. Instead of a number, you're going to plug in A. That's all. Try number 22. So we're not plugging in a number this time, you're just plugging in a letter. So hit pause and try A, and then come back to the video. Okay, so there's the two functions. Hopefully you did these on your own. Did it again. Maybe it's something to do with my highlighter. Come on. Hey, nope, it's not the highlighter. Come on. I don't want to have to redo this whole video, you guys. It's like really delayed. All right, so we're going to plug in an A wherever you see an X. Technology, sometimes it's not perfect. So this will just become A squared minus 2. This will become 5 minus A. So then you ask yourself, are there any like terms? And there are. So right in the middle, right here, we just have 5 minus 2. So the first thing you would want to write down is the A squared because it has the highest exponent. The next thing you would want to write down is the negative A in the back. And then just do 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay, that's the proper order. Goes by the little exponents. So A squared minus plain A plus 3. So the final answer would be the f plus g function evaluated at A is equal to that. All right, you guys, I hope this helped with your homework, and I'll go ahead and give you some more practice on it on another day. And have a great day. Be safe out there.